Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video. And today we're going to go over the, I guess everyone wants to call it DripKu. So the DripKu leader, it's the BT17 leader with the kind of the Unison base and kind of thing. And something that I thought and a lot of other people thought when seeing this list is that, oh, you have to run kind of like 20 Unisons to be consistent with it, which means you don't have a lot of combo cards in hand. You have a lot of bricks in hand and it's bad. And that I thought the same thing, but I tested it out, and honestly, that wasn't the case with my own testing. I thought it was pretty good. Honestly, there are times I wish I had more Unison cards in hand, and yeah, I really enjoyed the deck, and I played it on my stream too. I kept tinkering it with a little bit, and this is where I'm at right now. I don't think this is my final build either, but I think this is a really good base for someone who wants to try out the deck for the first time and just kind of see how it ticks. So we're just going to go over it real quick. Also, we're going to talk about just the best Unisons in general. Since that's kind of the archetype, we do have these two new ones from the pre-release packs, which I didn't know existed when I started testing it last night. So these are not in the deck. These can be good too. The fact that they're 1-drop yellow Unisons with Empower, Empower 2 is great, and it helps out the deck. And they also cycle for each other, which is kind of nice. Though I think the ones we're choosing right now are a little bit better. The fact that this is kind of like a mini engine is kind of neat. Going over the leader, we do have the Goku. So auto, add 1 card from your life to your hand. When this card attacks, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, play up to 1 yellow Unison card of specified cost of 1 among them with a marker on it in rest mode, then shuffle your deck. I wish that wasn't on attacking, because sometimes you really just want 1 out turn 1. I wish this was just an active main instead of an auto, but that's fine. And when you're also, it plays in rest mode, which is kind of stinky, but it's okay. And then also we do have the Awaken. When your life's at 4 or less, you may draw 1 card, switch it to 1 of your energy to active mode, then flip this card over. Same thing on the back. When this card attacks, draw 1. It's also once per turn, which because you can give itself essentially dual attack. Draw 1 card, then play up to 1 yellow using card specific cost of 1 from your hand with a marker on it in rest mode. So kind of the same thing, but it's from hand, so you don't have to do the RNG of looking top 5 of deck, which also makes sense because when you're Awaken, there will be probably significantly less Unisons you can play off from your deck anyways, so you're fine. And then the activating for 2 yellow, place 8 yellow Unison cards from your drop here at the bottom of your deck in any order. Switch this card to active mode. It gives plus 10k power and double strike for the turn. This normally happens like turn 4 or 5, and if you want this to go off faster, I think you have to invest in some cards that just simply put cards in your drop area, including Unisons. But it is just like a nice little restand, which is kind of nice. And then you can pair it with Cooler. So 5 energy, you get a 25k dual attack or double strike for free, which is kind of good. Well, not free. You have to pay 5 energy for it. Anyways, active battle. Once per turn, Spirit Boost acts if it's your opponent's turn. For each marker you remove from using the skill, it gets plus 5k power for the battle. Kind of hedging their bets that it's once per turn and only your opponent's turn, but it's still good for what it is. We make some of these chunky Unison cards, and if they're trying to go all in, just having an extra like 20k for free off all the markers from your Unisons is really good. And it just means that your opponent's kind of just forced to swing into your Unison sometimes, or they need to be able to figure out if they want to pressure your Unison, and just kind of go from there. So that's just kind of the idea. And obviously, by looking at it, we want to have a lot of 1-drop yellow Unisons. These are the 3 best ones from the new set that I've found. There are a lot more. I know a lot of people are playing the Aandroidd 18, especially since it does have that Spirit Boost skill, which is great when paired with the leader. But I think that we want these specifically. And right now we're running, 12, 14, 18 Unisons, including the 3 drops. And I think that's kind of where you want to aim for, just to get more consistency with it. And for real, I know that you're going to think that they're dead in hand, but you can kind of just being able to do like the Empower kind of train by using these, I think is good enough. And just being able to cycle through these guys is just offers a lot of pressure for your opponent, and kind of go for like 1-for-1 kind of card trades a lot of the time. But we're just going to go over the quick 1-drop Z fighters real quick that I chose. So Piccolo, and one more thing for all these Z Fighter ones, they all kind of have the same thing of 1. They have Empower 2. They have an auto that activates when they have 3 or more markers on them. So which means if you play it for 1, and then you have Empower 2, which means it gets 3 markers automatically, which is kind of nice. And then just some more effects from there. So Piccolo Empower. So when it's played, you can draw 1 card, which is just good cycle. And then +1, he gets plus 10k power for the turn. Piccolo is probably like one of the most consistently good ones. We also have Vegeta, so limit when this card is placed in your drop area, you get to draw 1 card, so that's great. So obviously, if you play like Vegeta, and then you go, like if you use the leader skill to play Vegeta, and you go to Piccolo, you get to draw 2 cards, and then you have this 15k, thing that gets to swing into, which 3+ markers on it, so all that's really good. And then also, if this card has 3 more markers on it, when this card's played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, any cost of 4 or less in rest mode. KO it, this gets plus 5k power for the turn. So obviously, it becomes a 15k with that case and everything. And getting a card pop is good too. So I think this one can be like, this is like one of the best ones to play like turn 1 or 2, just because like even if you just play it turn 1, just to be able to play something, if your opponent puts energy into getting rid of this card, you get to draw 1 card from it going to the drop area and just going from there. We also play the Yamcha. So if this card has 3 more markers on it, if this card's played, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards and switch into rest mode, which is fantastic. Being able to, unconditionally based on energy costs, switch things to rest mode. And then you can do +1. This card gets plus 10k power for the turn, or you can do +0 to draw 1. So being flexible in this too is kind of nice. Obviously, not getting a marker kind of stinks, but if you already have 2 markers on it and you're just planning on empowering on top of it anyways, the free card draw is kind of nice. And then so like he's like one of the best cards just to play off like the leader ability sometimes, but you kind of can see like why you'd want to like cycle through these, and you have to see which one do I want to play in rest mode, and then empower on top of it, that kind of idea. We also do have Piranha Giant Force. This is just like a little bit more consistency in the deck. And I liked it for what it was. You can add a marker to it for free, so you can get, make it 2 markers, and then you can either draw 1 or choose your opponent's battle cards in rest mode. It can't be switched to active mode. And then, or you could just like pop something for -3. This card's okay. If it had Empower, I like it a little bit more. But like the card draw cycle is good too, and it's fine for what it is. I might like Mai a little bit more. Just because it does have Empower, and you can do like the draw 1. If you need to do like the -4, you can, though it is a little bit stinky. And we don't obviously do any EX evolves in this deck, so. But I do like just the fact that this has Empower and has some cycle for it, so we might be switching this out for 2 Mais just for that kind of thing. We also do have the Shinhan and Krillins, and they're just strictly worse in my opinion. If this card has 3 or more, when this card's played, choose one of your opponent's Unison cards, switch to rest mode. It's such a weird thing, since you can always swing into Unisons, but we do have more Unisons getting blockers, so that's something, I guess. Like you can switch their Boo Unison into rest mode, so they can't have a blocker with it. I think this is like deserves to be in the sideboard, and if the matchup makes right, you can just switch out the Piranhas for it, but it's just fine. A +1, choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode. It can't be switched to active mode until the end of the turn, which is fine. And then -3, choose one of your opponent's leader cards in rest mode. It can't attack until the end of the next turn. So the -3 actually can be pretty impactful depending on what kind of deck you're playing against. So I'd say Shinhan is like a really good like side deck card to switch into. And then we also have Krillin. Krillin just stinks. If you have 3 more markers on it, when this card's played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with any cost 4 or less in rest mode to get its skills for the turn. The fact that Vegeta for the same thing strictly just pops the card is, I think, better. And then +1 gets plus 10k power for the turn, which again, Vegeta does the same thing. And then -3, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with any cost of 4 or less in rest mode, okay, which Vegeta does for free, just for coming out. So I think the Krillin is just bad. It's just not a good card. What else we got? And then I guess we do have the big boy. This is probably like one of the best cards in the deck, for real. It's just fantastic. It's so much value. Having Empower 3 block with this 4 more markers. When this card's played, choose X amount of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, where X equals the number of yellow Unison cards you drop here and KO them. So being able to do like a pseudo board wipe is great. +1 to draw 1. And then -3, choose up to one of your leader cards, this card, and the chosen card gets plus 5k power until the end of your opponent's next turn. This card gains triple strike. This card would be fine if it was a 15k, but the fact it's also a 20k, which becomes a 25k triple attack, is busted. And then your leader becomes a 20k, so you're not afraid of tapping out turn 3 to play this, because your leader has the extra, has like a sensu bean effect for the rest of the turn. It's just such a good card. And then it also has blocker. So if you only swing with 2 of them, then you have a 20k leader, a 25k blocker Unison, and with a couple markers, and it's just really good. And then also just the fact that Yeah, it's just good. I really like this card, and it's worth going into. I was running 3, 4 is definitely the number because you always want to see it turn 3. You're not afraid to play it, especially since it does have the Empower. So ideally, you do have some of these 1-drop unisons with 2 or 3 markers on it. You can go into this guy. You can do the -3, and you'll still have 2 or 3 markers left on it, and then it's just you're good to go kind of thing. So I like it. I think it helps out the deck a lot, and it's in a really good spot for what it's a really great turn 3 play. Again, once again, you get the protection that your leader gets at 20k is great. What else do we have? We do have the other cards, I guess, from the set. We do have the Gohan and the Trunks. These are okay. They both essentially have a limit 1 yellow. If you have a yellow Son Goku, when one of your yellow unisons is placed in your drop, you can play this card. And then the Trunks has blocker and also Spirit Boost. Once the card's played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO it. And then the Gohan, it has barrier, and then discard 1 yellow unisson card from your hand for battle once per turn. Choose up to one of your yellow leader cards or units that gets plus 5k power for the battle. So this is okay as well. I thought this would be better because I thought, with everyone else, you'd have so many unison cards in your hand. Like, this just makes some combos and they're good. Just the fact that this is a 15k barrier for 1 is just the reason we play it. It's just okay. The Trunks is not great just because it doesn't have it's a blocker, which is good, but it doesn't have barrier. So your opponent can just get rid of this super easily, and then nothing kind of happens. So the Goku negate is really good though when it goes off. So counterattack, negate the attack, play this card in rest mode. If you have a yellow unison card in play, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. Then auto Spirit Boost 1, place this card in your owner's drop area when this card is played. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch to rest mode. If the chosen card has an energy cost of 5 or less, KO it, then draw 1 card. The fact that this lets you negate the attack, and then also the Spirit Boost is fine because if we have so many yellow unisons as you're expecting to have, it's really easy to get this off. And then also the fact that it cycles and KOs something is good with the effect. Like, your opponent can swing into something, one of their big bad boys, right? It could still be in rest mode because they're swinging. You can play this card, negate the attack. And then even if it's in rest mode, we can still choose the card, and then we can still pop it if it's any cost of 5 or less, and then get to draw a card. So it's really good for that. The fact that it says if the chosen card has an energy cost of 5 or less, instead of if you switch the card to rest mode, if the card switched to rest mode has an energy cost 5 or less, it wouldn't work. But since it does, you can choose anything that's already in rest mode and pop it, which is really good. And it's a 5k combo in hand, so it's never like super dead, which is a little bit more better in a deck where you do have a lot of that kind of stuff going on. Any other specifics for this? We do have this Gohan. I saw a lot of people not run this card, but I think it's great. It's a 1-drop that looks for your unisons, so it's never ever. This card will almost never whiff. And then being able to limit for 2. If you have 3 more yellow energy, place this card in your own drop area. Play up to 1 of the Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan Z fighters from your hand with 3 markers on it. Part of the reason this card's so good too is that if you need to play one of these guys and you're not seeing it, you can play this for 1, search it for the top 5, and if you find it, you're able to play this still on curve for 3 by using the effect of this for 2 and going from there. So I like the interaction with that. It helps you find this more consistently and get it off. And in worst case, like, it just finds more cards and can help you cycle kind of thing. Because sometimes I need to find more 1-drop unisons to play off my Goku, and this helping me find them is good enough. We also do have I chose this as my secret rare. It's probably not the one to play, but it's fun, it's cool, so I chose it. I never used it, but I think there's just a couple yellow unison cards that I would choose. Like, if I was to, we'll just do it live. So if you're going to look at all the cards that we play in our ultimate slot, Pan is fine, except for the fact that we don't have a lot of battle cards, so it's kind of hard to play for free. Kai is probably the generically best one still, just being able to pop this. And popping unison cards is still fantastic for what you're doing. And then also, Kai is also the scariest card to play against us, so you gotta be worried about it. The Super 17 is a Cold Bloodlust, which we can play and go off. So I like this guy. This could be kind of good for what we're doing. What else we got? I don't think we can play this super easily. We can, and then being able to switch cards to rest mode and play this is fine. This card's okay. I think this is okay. I like the idea of also running the Super Mirror because it does have Empower. And we like the -4 for this can be super easy to do. So choose over your opponent's backwards in rest mode, ignoring barrier and KO them. Then choose up to 2 of your opponent's backwards, switch to the rest mode. And this card gains plus 15k and double strike. So this becomes a 40k double striker with with dual attack, and it has blocker. And then if your opponent lives, you can do the +1 to switch this back to active mode at the end of the turn too. I think this guy's good. I think he's fun. I don't know like if he's just like a win more card for the deck, but if he goes off, he's great. This is just like generically fine because you do like it only costs 1, which is also kind of like I think it's better than the heroine's lineage for the deck too. And also, it does say specifically equal to the number of Unison cards, and then also all these name cards as well. It says in leader areas, energy areas, and in battle areas, and Unison areas, and drop areas, and warp. So immediately you'll get 2 because you'll assumably have a Unison in play, and then also your leaders of Son Goku, and then any other Unison cards you have in any of these areas contribute to it. So this can like pop most anything by turn 3 anyways. So, and you get to draw 2 cards and everything. It's fine. I think it's a fun little secret rare specifically for this deck. I don't know if it's the best one for it, but there we go. Anyways, so going through the rest of the cards for this, we're running just a measly 6 extra cards, which is why we aren't playing the Mecha Frieza. I think this negates just better than it in the deck anyways, but I don't think we have a lot of extra cards to be able to proc Mecha Frieza anyways, so we already know these ones. If you like Final Flash a little bit more to get, interact with barrier, which this deck doesn't do otherwise, I think that can be better than Realm of the Gods. Just be careful there. This just also Final Flash doesn't give boosts to your Unisons, so don't forget to do that if you're swinging with Unison for game. I think Vegeta's great. Being able to switch things to rest mode on the flex speed, which means it gets around barrier, is good. Counterattack speed, and it also means we have a blocker, which means we can protect our Unisons from swings, which also means Frieza's Army Reinforcement can doubly do so. We're doing Krillin because we can get down to 4 life really easily, and we can shuffle back Unisons back in the deck if we need to. Cooler is great. We know this card's good. Once again, with Leader being able to give itself double strike in 25k for 2 energy, which means we can do this for 3 energy. It just means like we can just swing for game if we really need to. Turtles already fits in the deck because we're playing a yellow Saiyan leader, so a couple of these ain't bad. We're playing a deck in the format, so Bardock and Champa is great. And then like our alternate win condition in a lot of ways is the Son Goku Return of the Dragon Fist. This is incredibly easy to get out with this deck. When this card's played, choose 2 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO them, deflect, double strike for 3. If you have 4 more energy in a yellow Unison card play, you can play this card from your hand. And also, active main for once returned for Spirit Boost 2. If your leader card is a mono yellow, this card gains dual attack for the turn. Your opponent can activate skills and battle cards with original energy cost of 7 or less in any area when this card is in battle, which just means you just win sometimes. Like this can just win you the game because of its Fu status, and it's just good. And it's easy to do the Spirit Boost. You can do it for 0 energy by swinging with your leader, activating its effect to play any of your 1-drop Unisons, and then you can just give it +1, and then you can do the Goku. So all this is good. I think this is just a fantastic card, and like the only thing there's not a lot this loses to. So that is really all I had to go over this deck. I think it's super fun. I think you guys should definitely try it out and get your own opinions on it. It's not as bricky as it looks, which is nice, and honestly, it can be. This is almost looking a little bit obnoxious at times too, just because of how Unison heavy it can be when we can't interact with Unisons as well. As I still like Unisons are still like relatively safe like 2 years later, which is insane. But that's going to be it for me. Again, let me know what you guys think about this deck. Let me know your own builds, any cards that I've missed, and I'll catch you all next time.
Damn it.